In this video, I'm going to go over printing your dgen files to PDFs and have them include the digital signature fields in the PDF. So you've kind of heard us talk about through the previous videos how when you place these cells for the seals, that it adds this little shape at the bottom, and that will turn into that digital signature field in the PDF. So that's being done through use of a design script. So let's go over how this is set up and working. So I'm going to go and open Print Organizer. So I'll just go to Print. And then I'm going to open the default pset file that gets created or placed with the WorkSet when the WorkSet is created. So it should take you straight there. So that just has some folders set up. So I have the title sheet open, so I'm just going to do a file and add active files to set. And then there's that file already there. Now, a lot of this all is defined in the print style, but we already have a default print style, so you don't technically have to choose anything here. You could come here and choose this default that's highlighted, but again, since it's already defaulted, it'll be applied automatically. So it found that sheet in the dgen file and added it here. So if I click over the properties, you'll see that the design script is populated. So now if I go and do a print, and I open this up, so I open it with Adobe Reader, and you can see there are those digital signature fields that were added through that use of that design script file. So that's how easy it is to print, but I want to go over now the setup behind the scenes and how this is all working. So first of all, you do need to have that design script file, right? So if we look at our plot driver folder in our WorkSet, so I'll bring over, so I'm just happy to be in ProjectWise, but it's the same thing if you're not. So here's my WorkSet folder. So I'm going to 990 WorkSet Standards, plot driver folder, and here is this design script file. If you do not see a design script file, that means that you either placed your seals with an older version of the signature app, or you haven't placed them at all. So if you place them with the older app, older version of the app, you do not need to necessarily replace them, but you do need to trigger the creation of this design script file. So you do that through the use of this Plan Signatures app. You can place it and then delete it if you don't need it, and that will trigger the creation of the design script file. I have a separate video on how to use that application, so go check that out. But now if I take a look at this design script file, I can kind of show you what it's doing. So at the top, here's the kind of default stuff that was set up with the older version of the app. That's where I said you don't necessarily have to replace, because if you placed it with the older version, these were the names that were placed. So these names correspond with the cell that gets placed over in here. So this little shape for the digital signature, if I hover over it, that unique GUID of the cell name is what is getting added to the design script. So all these ones basically are for the older version, and then there's a couple things for adding some links in there, and then here is with the newer version of the app, each signature you place, it adds that GUID here. And that's basically saying, the cell name equals this, then create this digital signature field in the PDF. So that's what the app is doing that places the seals. That's what the design script file is doing. You don't need to really ever edit it. You can just let it go. So that's the one side of it, is how the design script file gets created and what the design script file is doing. The other side is how we defaulted everything in our standards. So first, the print styles, right? So I mentioned that all these print styles have the WorkSet design script name already defined. right? So that is why when you apply any of those print styles, this name gets set automatically. Okay, so that's just a part of our print styles. Now, it just specifies the name, right? So how does it find the location? That is being done by a variable. So if I bring this project class dialog over and I take a look at the config file for this specific work set. So again, I'm in project-wise, so the WorkSet config file is within the PID folder, but if you're outside of project-wise, then it's over in another location, wherever you store your WorkSet config files for this workspace. So if I open this up, one thing that is defined in here is this ms_design script path. Okay. So the design script path needs to be defined inside your WorkSet config file. So all your older worksets, you'll have to go back and add this. Now, if you're inside ODOT's data source, that's already been done. But if you're outside our data source and you create a project before we implemented this, then this config file is missing this line, and you just need to add it. So now when you're loading a dgen file for this workset, this path is getting defined, which is going to the plot driver folder. So that, in conjunction with the print style setting the default name, lets it be able to find this design script file at that variable location when printing and including it. So hopefully that made sense. That's how it's all working. Now you can full path this. So right now with just the name, it's going to use that variable to find it. But you could hit the little 3 dots and physically go and select your design script location, and then the full path will be listed. But that does not have to be there as long as your variable is set. The one last note is that variable does need to be defined in order to use the Plan Signatures application. And in order for that application to update the design script file, that variable will need to be defined. So hopefully that explains how everything is working, as well as how to print to get those digital signature fields.